a lot of what you're talking about is flirting with what I wanted to bring up next, and that's Tom Brady's game against the Saints. And you're saying a lot of this is Antonio Brown, and I completely disagree because Chris Godwin had the two fingers that he had surgery on, or he had surgery on the index finger. They were both taped together. He wasn't even catching with those fingers. Tom Brady did not want to throw him the ball, and you saw that. We saw him on the sideline. Chris Godwin was telling him, "Hey, I can catch the ball. Don't worry about me. I can still don't not throw to me when I'm open because I can still catch the ball." And we definitely saw that, but I don't think Brady got comfortable with Chris Godwin. They have not. They've been on the field what 4 times this season together, if that, maybe 3. Mike Evans, he's only a red zone target really for Tom Brady. He doesn't really get a lot. He can't get separation. Marshawn Lattimore has absolutely owned him this year and last year. So Mike Evans wasn't going to do any good. And then Antonio Brown didn't know the playbook. One of those interceptions was thrown because Antonio Brown ran the wrong route. He ran a button hook instead of running a streak. And that led to Tom Brady throwing it right to the defense. And that's just a communication issue. That's something that'll come over time. Where this game fell apart was with Byron Leftwich. And you started out with it. If you saw the routes they were running, they were 10-plus yard routes down the field. What does Tom Brady love the most? Those shallow crossers. He loves those things. He loves throwing over the middle of the field and loves throwing down at your feet where it makes you go and get it so you don't get hit hard. That's what he loves to do. So why not run those? You have Antonio Brown, the best route runner, very similar to Jerry Rice in that aspect. He will be able to torch anybody in the shallow game and run across the field and get separation. Chris Godwin can do the same, playing out of the slot. Mike Evans is going to be commanded by Marshawn Lattimore the entire game, so you don't have to worry about that. You still have these two guys to work with. If Byron Leftwich had run better plays that are easier for Antonio Brown to grasp quickly, and something that Chris Godwin is going to thrive in as well, this would have been a lot better for Tom Brady, and they couldn't get the run game going because they fell into a 14-0 deficit very quickly, and that's why they ended the game with 4 rushes, the lowest ever in a single game in NFL history. The Byron Leftwich was the start of it all, and it all trickled down from there to Tom Brady and the receiving core. Without Byron Leftwich terrible play calling, this doesn't happen. This could have been avoided. At least this could have been a competitive game, not one of the worst blowouts we've ever seen, especially with Tom Brady on the receiving end.
Well, if you're talking about the game in whole as a whole, you have to look at Byron Leftwich. You have to look at Todd Bowles. You have to look at Bruce Arians. You have to look at Tom Brady. You have to look at Antonio Brown. You have to look at Chris Godwin. I mean, there's so much blame to go around. This defense looked like a completely different.
They look like somebody else. In the NFL, it's a trickle down effect. It starts with something, and then it either affects the offense or defense. And if one side is not playing well, it's only a matter of time until the other side doesn't play well because they need the momentum from the opposite side. And if one doesn't,
I understand that.
And you saw that the Bucs defense had some shining moments, and then the offense came back out, drove down the field, and turned the ball over, and then the defense was crap after that because they lost all hope and faith and just kind of gave up themselves.
But they could have been a momentum shift. They could have worked harder. They could have schemed better. There was a whole hell of a lot that went wrong for this team.
So put it on Bruce Arians
went wrong.
Put it on Bruce Arians too.
I said his name. He was the third name I said. I said Byron Leftwich, Todd Bowles, Bruce Arians. Those were the first 3 I said. Then it goes to Tom Brady. Then it goes to Antonio Brown. Then it goes to Chris Godwin. And then the entire defense. That's where all the blame goes, right there.
I think you really have to focus in on this offense, especially the offensive coordinator, because these, I just, every single time they're running down the field. I don't get it.
This is not the Byron Leftwich. It's easy to blame Byron Leftwich. No, it's easy to blame Tom Brady.
It's easy to blame him because that's the person to blame. Listen,
No,
you
it's
can't.
not.
You
There's much more
cannot.
to it.
This isn't Jameis Winston. You can't form him into the quarterback you want him to be. This is Tom Brady, a guy who has performed in his career. You have to shape the playbook around Tom Brady and his playing style. That is
They're
short.
not
Get the
doing
ball
that.
out of his hands right away.
They're not going to do that. They've shown that they're not doing that. That's why Scotty Miller has been non-existent for most of the year unless Chris Godwin is out. I mean, the fact remains that the only thing he's brought to Tampa Bay from New England is his utilization of the tight end position with Cameron Brate and Rob Gronkowski and OJ Howard before he got hurt.
Every time you see Chris Godwin run across the field, guess what? He's open and Tom Brady throws it to him and they complete the pass because he's running that short to medium over the middle route and getting open. He doesn't need to be super open. Brady hasn't had a many receivers like this in his career. He knows how to do a lot with very little.
This is an indictment on Bruce Arians because this is exactly what they did with Kurt Warner in Arizona. This is exactly what they did with Big Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh. He is not a patient man. He wants to air it out down the field. He wants a vertical passing option. That's all he cares about. He doesn't want the dink and dunk game. That's Josh McDaniels. This is Bruce Arians. This is Byron Leftwich. This is their job.
How are you not? And if you're not smart enough to comprehend, I need to adapt my playbook to his playing style because he is better at his job than I am at mine. And you can't figure that out, then you shouldn't be here. Bruce Arians should have gotten rid of you. What showed you last year that Byron Leftwich is a good coordinator? What, the fact that Jameis Winston
threw 30 touchdowns
and 30 interceptions?
That's on Jameis.
Maybe if he had better routes run by his receivers, he wouldn't have so many interceptions. He's just throwing bombs.
When you have a wide receiving core of Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, and Rob Gronkowski, you can never blame the goddamn receiving core. I don't ever want to hear you say a damn thing because
then how come none of them
is able to do in New England, as we saw? He's feeding one guy. One guy got the ball.
You're talking about the New York Jets. That's who they faced. We're talking about the New Orleans Saints.
The New Orleans Saints defense is garbage.
That's not true. That's not true. They have been getting better as the year has progressed. We're only halfway through the season. You cannot say,
Teddy Bridgewater tore them apart. And you're telling me Tom Brady can't do the same thing?
A mobile quarterback has that ability. Tom Brady is nowhere near mobile. He is not Jameis.
Shit.
He's not Jameis. He's not Teddy B.
It's very simple on how to beat Tom Brady. Get pressure at his feet. He hates it. He absolutely can't stand it.
They got pressure with 4. I mean, this offensive line was an issue as well. All across the board, this team failed, but it all starts with Byron Leftwich.
What's the one thing that changed? What's the one thing that changed from the week prior when everybody was lauding them as possibly the best offense in NFL history?
We called it best on paper.
What's the one thing that changed?
I'm not saying it. No. No.
You don't have to say it. I said it for you.
Antonio Brown has nothing to do. He was with the team for 2 practices before this game.
So why was he such heavily utilized in the?
Because they needed him.
No, they didn't. Clearly.
Mike,
you're going to throw an interception because that's what you need?
Mike Evans, we know was going to be locked up by Latimer all night no matter what, so that leaves Chris Godwin and Rob Gronkowski. Did you see Gronk in that game? He looked terrible. Did you see Chris Godwin? He looked okay, but Brady doesn't trust him with the two fingers taped together that he's not catching with.
Brady doesn't trust anybody if you look at him the wrong way. It's the same issue that we had with him in New England. If you're a young receiver, if you smelled the wrong way or you looked the wrong way, all of a sudden he stops trusting you and you never get the damn ball.
You run different routes, this could have been avoided. The pass rush would have not been a thing. The players would have gotten yardage
but
with the ball.
Brady has the ability to audible these plays too. He can say to Byron Leftwich, to Bruce Arians, we need to fix the way. I mean, they went in at halftime and changed literally nothing.
That's on the coaching staff. That's not on Brady. Brady's not the coach. He can't dictate everything
at the end of the game. Why?
Because they didn't want to be a shutout.
You should have taken the shutout. Would have looked even worse. Maybe you'd actually do something again.
This is a game that if they face in the playoffs, I truly, truly, truly expect it to be different. I don't want to say a different result, but I think it'll be a lot more competitive. Antonio Brown will have been in the offense for at least 8 weeks at that point.
Antonio Brown knows this offense. It's not a lot. It's not a viable excuse.
He does not know what Byron Leftwich is.
It's not
doing.
Byron Leftwich's offense. It's Bruce Arians' offense. Byron Leftwich is only calling the plays. It's Bruce Arians'
Antonio
offense.
Brown, who's out of football for over a year too.
So my question is, why is he so heavily utilized?
They had to pass every single play.
No, they didn't. This is what I'm saying. At the end of the game, by the end of the game, yes, you're right.
By the end of the game, they were down 14-0 in the first quarter. No.
Yes, because you're not letting me talk. The game plan going in was to air out this ball deep down the field all the time. Why wasn't it run the ball? Let's open up the pass game. Why does Antonio Brown need to be the focal point of this offensive game plan? The fact remains that was a very poor decision going into this.
On Byron Leftwich and Bruce Arians. It's not on Brady. It's not on Brady. Brady does not call the plays.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Tom Brady can't do any wrong with you.
Tom Brady does not call the plays.
He's never done anything wrong either,
He might be given a second if he needs to audible to it.
Okay.
None of them were run plays. That's their fault for not coming out with a better run game.
Tom Brady has the utmost ability, more than any other quarterback in the NFL, to change the play at the line of scrimmage if he sees something that they should be doing differently, and he didn't do that.
You also have to realize
it's on everyone.
He's also facing the Saints. He's used to facing the Saints once every 4 years, and now he's faced them twice in the same year.
He chose to go to Tampa Bay. It's not like he didn't know that.
Drew Brees knows the Buccaneers. He knows this defense. He knows how Byron Leftwich and Bruce Arians coach a game, and so does Sean Payton and the rest of the Saints. It's very different for all these newcomers to the Bucs.
For 1 year? They only saw him last year. That's when Bruce Arians took over.
It doesn't matter. Would you rather have an entire year of a coaching style and a team, or would you rather have one game to go off of that Tom Brady had against the Saints in week 1? From week 1 when you didn't have Chris Godwin, you were dealing with Mike Evans, who had the injury to start the season. Gronk was not a thing. You had OJ Howard at that point. A lot of things have changed.
And which one was the closer game?
The first one.
Right. So take what worked there and utilize that. And they didn't do that. They just didn't.
That didn't win them the game. You know what would win the game? Shallow crossers and running the ball more. Being it's not complicated.
You just added running the ball more. You have never said that. I was screaming about that 2 minutes ago.
I'm not, but you're trying to pin the blame on Tom Brady. It's with Byron Leftwich.
Not just him.
It's the play call.
You're saying that Tom Brady is void of all issues from this
not
game.
Not all,
I'm saying
but
that
most.
No. There is equal blame on everyone. Equal.
No.
Yes. It's that simple. I know Tom Brady's angelic eyes are perfect in your mind, and he can do no wrong. The fact remains that this is not something that Tom Brady had multiple opportunities to make it right. He made poor plays, he made poor decisions, and he did not protect the football. That is on him.
He didn't make great choices in some scenarios. Antonio Brown caused that second interception. They could have had points on the board at that point if they had run different plays. Don't throw the ball 20, 30 yards down the field every single time. It's unnecessary. You have to get 10 yards to get a first down. Stop throwing for the end zone every single time.
It's only unnecessary.
But
in the beginning of the game,
if Mike Evans is running a streak or a post route, and then you have Chris Godwin running a crosser all the way across the field, but it's like a medium or deep crosser, and then you have if you have AB running a corner route or something like that, there is nothing going on over the middle of the field, shallow and over the middle of the field. There's nothing there.
And the offensive line couldn't protect against 4.
Because those plays take time to develop. And they couldn't
Against
hold
4. You're telling me 5 offensive linemen can't
I
protect
agree with
against
you.
4?
The offensive line was an issue.
I mean, another issue is that Tristan Wirfs is being put one-on-one with Cam Jordan.
When you see that the pass rush is getting there with 4 and they're getting to him within 2 or 3 seconds, that's when you know for sure you need to throw that ball quickly. And how do you do that? Quick underneath routes, quick out routes, something of that magnitude. You cannot be running these long routes that take time to develop.
Sean Payton is in Tom Brady's head. I don't care. He absolutely is.
Byron Leftwich
Tom Brady
is ruining the
team. 2-5 against the New Orleans Saints in his career.
Get rid of Byron Leftwich. Get a real offensive coordinator.
Yeah, now Brady comes there and all of a sudden Byron Leftwich is no good, right?
Do you really think Byron Leftwich is
in that offense the week before?
Yes or no? Is Byron Leftwich a good offensive coordinator?
Yes. Yes, he is.
I'd rather have Adam Gase as my offensive coordinator.
Okay, now you're just being stupid. Adam Gase brings video cameras into the locker room, so I don't know.
You know what? I'd still perform better with him. It'd be worth it. I would consent to those.